Hi sewists and aspiring sewists, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to make this crisscross tank top. So if this looks like what you're interested in, then you want to keep watching this video till the end. So for this tutorial, this is the standard measurements we're going to be using. Now for my length here, I have 18 inches. So to measure my length, I'm going to leave an allowance of 3.5 above this margin here. Then I'm going to measure my length, which is 18 inches. So I'm just going to be making a point on different area here, on different angles, and I'm just going to be ruling a line across this dots. So basically I'm just going to be connecting these dots together, just as you can see on your screen. So once I'm done with that, then I'm going to go ahead to measure my armhole. So I'm just going to also leave an allowance of 3.5 at the upper part of this margin. Then I'm going to measure my armhole, which is 6 inches. Now I'm making use of 6 inches because the size I'm working with is a very small size. That's why I'm making use of 6 inches. So if you're bustier, you can make use of 7-8 inches, depending on how busty you are or how big you are. So once I have this done, I'm just going to go ahead to measure my bust. So for my bust here, I have 32 inches. So dividing that by 4, I'm going to have 8 inches. So I'm just going to measure 8 inches on this point here. Then for my waist, on my waist I have 23 inches here. So dividing that into 4 would give me 5.75. So I'm just going to go ahead to measure 5.75 here. So once I'm done, I'm just going to be connecting my lines together, just as you can see me do right here. So next, after that, from this point I'm going to measure 3 inches, just as you can see. Then I'm going to leave a mark here. Then under here I'm going to come down by 0.5. so basically I'm just going to be connecting these lines together with my French curve. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to cut out what I have here. So I'm going to be making use of this Bodycon material here. So I have half trouser of this, and this fabric here is very stretchy, so this is recommendable for this kind of style. You can also make use of a cotton rib, but just make sure that whatever material you're making use of is very stretchy. So with no further delay, I'm just going to be laying my pattern on this fabric here. So next, I'm just going to position my pattern paper on my fabric, just as you can see, and I'm just going to be pinning this down. So I want you to also take note of the fact that my bust circumference and my waist circumference is the stretchy part of my fabric. So once I'm done pinning, I'm going to come down at this point to measure my folding allowance. So my folding allowance is 1 inch. So I'm just going to be leaving different dots on this part of my fabric. Then I'm just going to be connecting my lines together with my ruler. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to cut what I have. So on this part of my fabric, I'm going to leave an allowance of 1/2 inch, a seam allowance of 1/2 inch, while on the side I'm just going to cut equally, just as you can see me do right here. So once I'm done cutting, I'm just going to put this aside. So on the stretchy part of my fabric here, I'm going to measure the strap of my neckline. So what I'm going to be doing basically is I'm going to fold my fabric like this, just as you can see. Then next, after that, I'm going to measure my length. So for my length here, I'm going to make use of 2 inches, just as you can see. So this 2 inches includes my sewing allowance. So basically I'm just going to be measuring round, just as you can see. Then for my length, for the length of my strap, I'm just going to measure 29 inches. So basically I'm just going to measure this from the starting point here then to this point. So what I'm just going to be doing here is I'm just going to mark the 29 inches point here. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut out what I have here. So next, I'm going to measure what is on my armhole. So what is measured here is about 8 inches. So I'm just going to subtract 1 inch from there. So I subtracted, and what I have is like 7.5. So I'm just going to make use of 7 inches because the fabric is very stretchy. So I'm just going to make use of 7 inches here. So I'm going to be marking the points, and I'm going to notch this part. So basically I'm just going to be stretching this to fit into my armhole because I want it to be very firm around my armhole. So with no further delay, let's get right into the whole sewing process. So the first thing you want to do is to sew on your strap. So I'm going to be sewing from this point here. We measured 7 inches, so I'm going to sew from that point to this other point. So after sewing, I'm just going to be turning this over to the right face, just as you can see me do right here. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So you can iron at this point. I'm currently operating on gen, so I'm just going to leave this like that. So next I'm going to position my strap, this particular one here, this one within. So I'm going to position it on this one side of my armhole, just like this. Then I'm going to also position the other one on the other side of my armhole, just as you can see me do right here. So basically I'm just going to be stretching it to fit in. Now this one I'm stretching my own is because I want it to be very firm. I want my armhole area to be very firm. So I'm just going to be stretching this basically because I'm working with the stretchy fabric, so you have to stretch to make it firm. So once I'm done with that, I'm just going to position the other one around it, just as you can see me do right here. So basically I'm just going to pin this down and stretch as I sew, just as you can see, so it can fit into what we have. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to crisscross it like this. Then I'm going to position the other one also on it. So what I'm just going to be doing is I'm going to make a crisscross at the front like this. Then I'm going to position it like this and make a crisscross at the other side as well. I hope you understand what I'm trying to do here. I made a crisscross at the front, so at the back as well I'm making a crisscross before I position the strap towards the armhole of the back side. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to position it like this, and I'm going to pin it down. So at this point it's important that you pin it down so that you don't end up sewing something else. But then, so just carefully position it like this, so you can secure this part of your crisscross top. So basically I'm just going to go ahead to connect my straps to my armhole. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to properly align this together. So the front side is going to be crisscrossed, while the other side as well is going to be crisscrossed. So I'm just going to pin this down, so I can join the side of my crisscross top. So I'm just going to pin the other side as well, make sure that it is aligning together. So I'm just going to make a straight stitch on both sides. So after sewing, this is what it looks like, and I really wish I can iron it at this point, but unfortunately there's no light. I'm operating on gen. That's why you need to support me. If you're here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm just going to be making a stitch around this, just as you can see, because I'm going to be making a straight stitch at the downside. So for my top here, I'm just going to be modifying some things here, like this crisscross part. I'm just going to connect it together and make a reversal here, because I couldn't do that on my overlock machine because of the blade. So I'm just going to use my straight sewing machine to connect it together properly at this point. So I'm also going to do the same thing on the other side as well. So you can see how firm it looks at this point. So the next thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to fold the downside of my top. So the folding allowance is 1 inch, so I'm just going to measure 1 inch and I'm going to be folding this round. So after folding, this is what it looks like. So the next thing you want to do at this point is to properly iron this, okay? So just like I would always say, that the beauty of every streetwear lies in a proper ironing. I was only able to iron this with my local iron, and it's just fair compared to what my heat pressing machine would have done. But nevertheless, we move. I just wanted to make a video for you guys. So if you watch this video to this point and you're just subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Please kindly hit the subscribe button now. And if you love to join our WhatsApp community, the link is in the description. And if you love to register for April online class, the link is also in the description. So please kindly like this video, comment, share, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.